Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the new Amy Schumer movie, unfortunately. Called I Feel Pretty, Schumer's new movie just dropped its trailer last week and there's a large number of fans who are upset about it, namely a few of her feminist ones, the hefty overweight ones. Amy has marketed herself as a pro-woman, pro-abortion, left-wing feminist after all, and, well, it appears that may be coming back to bite her in the ass here. You gotta admit, it's pretty tricky being a comedian and a feminist, or SJW, since they are prone to be getting offended by everything, and a lot of the best comedy is about being offensive and out of the box. Kind of contradictory, and this has been a big reason why leftists stink at comedy. So, with that said, it's only a matter of time before a joke crosses the line for these social Marxists, and, well, it looks like the premise for Amy's new movie has done just that. I Feel Pretty is a movie about Amy Schumer's character Renee, who after hitting her head wakes up with a newfound confidence. This concussion gives Renee what she's always been asking for, the feeling of being undeniably pretty, as she says in the trailer. Let's take a quick peek at that.
I've always wondered what it feels like to be just undeniably pretty. That's me. That's me. Oh my God, you see this?
Yes.
I'm beautiful!
As you can see, this movie's got a bit of a body positivity thing going on. Fat girl Amy complains about pretty girls getting all the attention, and instead of working hard and losing the weight, the movie decides to have this magical premise of her thinking she's beautiful after hitting her head. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess how all that turns out. She meets this guy who we also see in the trailer. He falls in love with her new confidence, but toward the end of the movie, Amy loses it. Either it wears out or she might even hit her head again and reverse the spell. Either way, she goes back to thinking she's ugly at the end, but then has this big awakening moment where she realizes she was beautiful the whole time. Some corny shit like that is gonna happen, mark my words. Some have even called this movie a reverse internal Shallow Hal. Shallow Hal being a comedy from 2001 with Jack Black, where he gets a spell put on him that only allows him to see a person's inner beauty. He falls for Gwyneth Paltrow, who looks gorgeous to him, but to everyone else she's this big fat slob. I Feel Pretty is pretty similar when you think about it. Regardless of the similarities and shallow premises, pun intended, this I Feel Pretty movie trailer is getting a terrible reception across the board. Of course, regular people and moviegoers like us hate it. Amy Schumer is pure unfunny cringe, and that's why this trailer has 33,000 dislikes. But like I said before, even Schumer's typical fans don't approve, especially the feminists and the body positivity ones.
Who's that sexy thing I see over there?
I know you don't recognize me.
That's me.
You guys, it's me.
Mirror.
Renee. What's happening?
Oh, full spin.
Take this article from Teen Vogue that gets pretty damn social justice-y, called Internet Reacts to Amy Schumer's Trailer for I Feel Pretty. After a brief introduction, it goes on to say, while a movie celebrating self-love and body acceptance certainly has merit, some people online are arguing that Amy, a white, blonde, able-bodied woman, is already the portrait of conventional beauty standards, and is therefore someone who might receive more privilege than those who do not fit that trope. Oh boy, I don't know what strikes me more here, the shaming of Amy for being white, blonde, and able-bodied, or the fact that they claim Amy is already the portrait of conventional beauty standards. They even go on to say she might receive more privilege. Jesus. First of all, Amy is not white, she's Jewish, so if she's receiving any privilege, it's from being part of the group that controls the media in Hollywood. Secondly, she's not conventionally pretty, not at all. And it's not just because Amy's overweight. She's got a doughy round face too, an annoying voice, and a terrible gross personality. But let's read on anyway. Comedian Sophie Hagen articulated this in a Twitter thread, writing, "Who is this meant to resonate with? Before we can enjoy the premise, surely we have to buy the fact that she is not pretty. How many of us are bigger than her? Not many, but the ones that are bigger sure notice this, if you know what I'm saying. Are we supposed to accept this as ugly when it's all that we've been taught we should aim for? Who's teaching you to aim for that? Where are you getting these lessons from?" I think this is one of those references to culture. Culture teaches these feminists everything, according to their dogma. Of course, anyone can struggle with body image, as Sophie noted in her thread. She added, "I understand that there are people who look exactly like Amy Schumer who do feel ugly or unattractive, but that doesn't change the fact that those people will still be treated better by society than someone actually fat, actually not white, and actually not femme-passing." Seems like Sophie Hagen is having a who's fatter showdown with Amy Schumer. Let's check out Sophie's figure and see who wins. Welp, Sophie sure is the bigger lady here, but that doesn't make Amy not fat and ugly. Just because we found a land whale who's bigger doesn't make Amy the conventional weight. Skinny is skinny no matter how fat people get on the other end of the spectrum. I think Sophie is just mad because Amy is not fat enough. She probably wanted to be in the movie instead too, her being a struggling comedienne herself. That's comedienne, not comedian. That's the girl version. And this attack just seems like petty jealousy to me. Sophie's jealous of Amy, and they both have E's at the end of their names. Well, the sound of it. And there's also the whole fat acceptance, body positivity angle. Feminazis like Sophie are just as adamant about being pro-fat as they are about being pro-woman. And let's be real, body positivity is a fucking joke. Now, that's not to say fat people should be ashamed either, but that's not the point. Body positivity is typically being used by big girls who have given up on life and losing weight. They try and act proud and like they don't care, but they really do. They care a lot, and it shows by how much they try and act like they don't care. Pretty ironic. Back to the article. And she, Sophie, wasn't alone in her reaction. Editor Melissa McGowan reacted by writing this: "As a woman who is actually fat, I have been routinely accused of being mentally ill or, yes, having injured my brain by people, almost always men, who don't believe I should have the self-confidence I do have. This isn't funny." I doubt that story's true. I doubt anyone's calling her crazy, but let's move on. She went on to call the film a mockery of what is, for some, a lived experience. Twitter user @Dion added, "The day I feel like I can relate to a white, upper-class, cis, straight white woman about feeling unwanted by society just because maybe she's 170 pounds is the day the entire structure of our society is rearranged and I've received reparations." God damn, the SJW buzzwords are strong in this one. Let's start with the part where she claims this new film is a mockery of a lived experience. That's the whole point of comedy films, you dummy. They make mockeries of real-life situations. The only reason you're butthurt here is because the movie gets a little too close to home for you. This editor Melissa is a fatty too, and she can't stand anything even trying to make fun of that. This is like a stoner getting offended at the movie Friday for making jokes about pot smokers, or a black person who's offended at a Medea movie for making mockeries of black people's situations and customs. That's all the I Feel Pretty movie is trying to do, and I can't believe I'm defending an Amy Schumer movie right now, but come on, it's just a joke, people. Quit it with all your upper class, white, cis, straight woman, able-bodied, all that crap. Reparations? Give me a break. And don't get me wrong either about Amy. I'm not flip-flopping on her. I still think this movie looks terrible, but I'm not going to say they don't have a right to make it or people shouldn't watch it if they want to. And I'm not going to hate on it because it has some fat jokes and a cheesy, magical confidence spell gimmick. No, I'll gladly rip on it for casting Amy and being unfunny, but the body positivity jokes are fine by me.
Ooh, a bikini contest.
Let's go.
DJ, hit it.
Lastly, I want to look at an article from blackgirlnerds.com about this new movie called I Feel Pretty Trailer is a Flashback to a Worse Film. This article, of course, is focused on the connection between I Feel Pretty and the similar Shallow Hal movie I mentioned before. Towards the end, it reads, "The film is a reincarnation of Shallow Hal that nobody asked for. In that film, Hal is a womanizer who gets hypnotized by a magician." That's not true. He's actually hypnotized by Tony Robbins, a life coach and professional public speaker. He's a self-help guy. Anyway, the hypnotherapy helps Hal see the inner beauty of everyone he comes into contact with, especially the women. Gwyneth does spend a lot of time in a fat suit, doing stereotypical things that fat girls like me allegedly do. The writer's fat. Note that. Hal also sees the inner beauty of disabled people. The result is an erasure of people of certain body types, abilities, and other attributes. First of all, I wouldn't say disabled is an ability, but I think I know what you're saying. And looky here. We got another fat feminist, this time a black one, and she's ranting and raging about this new Schumer movie. I can't believe how transparent these haters are. She even ends this article with this diatribe: "The I Feel Pretty trailer offers little more than a flashback to an even more atrocious film that tried this same premise over a decade ago. It's a reminder that rich, white, cis privilege is still gatekeeping, and the fact that Hollywood needs a newer, more diverse slate of directors and writers." There they go, bringing up rich, white, and cis people again. God damn, these feminist retards are really pulling out all the stops for this. Rich, white, and cis privilege and gatekeeping? Talk about buzzwords. Now, I might agree Hollywood could use some new directors and writers, but I don't think forced diversity is the answer. I'm pretty sure this big girl would be advocating for some fat, body-positive directors too, just cuz.
See a splash? I'm gonna show you a splash. Ready?
Hey, Billy, stay over near the ladder.
Shallow Hal.
And I want to end this by talking about Shallow Hal again for a minute, because I actually liked that movie. I'm a big Jack Black fan, and this was a classic for me and my friends back in the day, back in high school. I wouldn't say it was his best movie, or even that it's a great standout movie, but it certainly is good and worth watching for a laugh. And Shallow Hal is a good example of how things have changed in the world, in the culture, and in Hollywood today. Shallow Hal would never get made in this day and age. There's too many oversensitive SJW wussies out there who would stop it, like they're trying to do with Amy Schumer's movie today. But But back then, back in the early 2000s when me and my friends were watching it, Shallow Hal didn't come across as offensive or body shaming at all. It was just a fun story with a magic gimmick that made Hal see people's inner beauty. And isn't it hard to say this is a fat shaming flick when the main character is Jack Black, a big dude like me, and even his friend in the movie is George Costanza from Seinfeld, two big dudes who at the beginning only want to date skinny pretty girls. They're shallow, like the title. But if you make it to the end of the movie, they all realize it's what's on the inside that matters most. There's actually a good message there, but modern SJWs just can't see past the anti-body positivity part. It's also unfair to judge a movie from 2001 with 2018 SJW lenses. That movie was basically from the 90s, a different time altogether. Sure, there was some PC culture back then, but nothing like these beasts in the SJWs we fight today. Shallow Hal would never get made in this day and age. And that's why the closest thing we get is this I Feel Pretty movie, which actually tries to flip the script and have the character stay fat but just become overly accepting of it. But apparently that's not enough for the body positivity crowd and the feminists. But to be fair though, it's really never enough for SJWs like that. What do you guys think of this story? Is I Feel Pretty going to be an anti-body positivity movie? Is it going to be bad because of its fat people premise, or is it bad because Amy Schumer is just terrible? And how many of you guys have seen the Shallow Hal film from 2001? Did you like it? Comment your thoughts below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.